I feel really blessed to be able to sit here with you today and just take accountability. I was dealing with some various issues, dealing with bipolar also. So it would take the ideas I had and have me take them to an extreme where I would forget about the protection of the people around me and myself. So I wanted to come and take accountability. Sometimes people aren't that knowledgeable about the bipolar and the cause or what causes it and the way you act when you have this disease. So it's like if you left the house and you left your kid at the house and your kid went and messed up the kitchen and messed up the garage and messed up the living room. Now when you get back, it's your responsibility because that's your child. And that's the way I look at it. It's like I gotta go clean up the kitchen, I gotta clean up the living room, I gotta clean up the garage. Yeah, and it's a big deal for me as a man to come and take accountability for all the things that I've said, and I really just appreciate you embracing me with open arms and allowing me to make amends. And this is the beginning and the first steps and the first brick by brick to build back the strong walls.
ישראל שהיהדות, רבי said the Judaism, היא נתנה לעולם את התשובה. The Judaism brought to the world a way for someone when he regret about something that he has done wrong. היהדות חיה על התשובה. And the Jews live on this way of if someone did something wrong, he can regret and fix it. And the rabbi is hugging you and hugging everybody. And God willing, and from now on, strong things and good things, and only good. You are a very good man.
Amen. That's the best, man.
Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your one and only Star Flames. So, Kanye West sat down with the rabbis. I think that was 2 days ago. So basically, we know that he has said a lot of things and he's made comment about the Jewish community. Ari Emanuel, wrote to all media outlets saying that they should cancel him and his mental health should never be taken into consideration. And he lost a lot of money. Not only did he lost a lot of money, he was also severely sabotaged in the process. If we're going to be honest, he was severely, deliberately, and repeatedly sabotaged. His money got through. I didn't sleep in it, guys. Like, I'm trying to switch my clock. So I didn't sleep. Right? Those who know. So, as I was saying, so they froze his bank account without even notifying him. And normally when you're freezing someone's bank account, if they don't have a criminal history, especially when you're accusing them of theft, it should be something that they get notified of so that they can represent themselves. So they froze his account. He wasn't notified of it. He got up one day, couldn't use his Apple Pay. Adidas accused him of stealing marketing funds. They froze his account. So one judge stepped in and was like, this is crazy. This is madness. This is abuse of, his, democratic right. Unfreeze his account, gave Adidas time to come up with a proof that he stole the money. Adidas could not provide the evidence. They literally dragged him into court repeatedly, and on every occasion, they lost. Thank God there were still honest, decent judge out there. So after that, wounds and scars, because he was wounded. what he said, what he typed offended them. They wounded him just the same. And after they wounded him, they rubbed salt in his wounds because that's how it went. That's how I saw it. And we can see actions and things to what they did, like, crippled his every single effort. Anywho, as time passed, we realized that Kanye's mental health was questionable. We can't say where it was because we had no knowledge. We still don't even have any knowledge of where it was at that time. Do you realize, guys, we really still don't have any knowledge of where Ye's mental health was at that point. He was going through his divorce with Kim, and you can only imagine the nightmare of that. And we have seen the documentary. Kim has done everything she could have to help him. Her family did everything they could have to help him. They are not the reason for his mental health. They're not the reason for it. Watch the documentary. Stop blaming Kim. You guys can't keep blaming Kim every day because every day we blame Kim. The only thing that happens is that Kim keeps getting vindicated. His recent documentary recently actually vindicates Kim and Chris and the entire family, okay? So we saw all of that, and he has been struggling. He has been trying to get back on his feet. Occasionally we'll see him apologizing to the Jewish community. Then he goes to the dark side. Then he apologizes and he flips back to the dark side. However, a few days ago, he met with some rabbis and he basically, spoke about the forgiveness, and he apologized to them, and they were listening. They seemed to be attentive and cared about closing that trauma, because it was unpleasant on both sides, because they were doing some stuff. Some of them were doing some stuff that was not nice. So much so that even some of their own fellow people did not support such behavior, because many people understand mental health and they had some understanding of what he was going through. Even after I did some videos talking about him, after he went off on those kids, when he said, Jay-Z and Beyonce's kids are retarded, even some of those videos that I did about him, even though I didn't really bash him, I still have ounces of regret because, I went back and I'm analyzing things and I'm saying, mental health is such a selfish thing, because when they are that way, and because I've been talking to friends and stuff, and then when I was talking to some friends, they would like, remember that guy? You know what used to happen to that guy? He used to refuse to take his medication because he thought his sister was about to poison him or kill him and get to him and stuff. So after speaking with a few people, I realized that, mental health is truly selfish. And oftentimes our reality is just not their reality. And then we see them have some amount of functionality. And because they have some amount of functionality, we believe that if you're able to get up and pay your bills, if you know you're hungry, if you know you need to make money and sell merch, that means you're okay, when that's not the case. Because with bipolar disorder, there are different stages, and depending on what stage he's at, then that's how it's going to function. And then there was this content creator on YouTube, TikTok, that I followed, and she is an attorney. And when I tell you that she's smart, like she is a genius. And then, she kept moving from one apartment to the next, kept telling us that she was having some challenges, and then she was like, she may go back to school to do medicine. She's not sure if law was her thing. Then after that, we didn't see her for a little bit. Then she came back on TikTok and told us that she didn't feel right within herself, because she was saying that she noticed, she caught herself. She said that she noticed that she would be just studying on medicine and researching on medicine and saying that she was going to do medicine. But she noticed and observed that the manner in which she was going about it was not normal, was not okay. She would be reading books on medicine for hours. And there was some other little stuff as well that she said, so she went into she literally went to a doctor, because she's saying to herself, things are not okay, and she took herself to the doctor. After she went to the doctor, they ran some tests and do everything and found out that she had stage 1 bipolar, or stage 0, but it's like depressive bipolar, right? So she said that she started taking the medications, and she's saying it's the best she has ever been in a long time. She's organized, because she even quit her job. And when she quit her job, we were like, why did you quit your job and stuff? And so she's now back to practicing law, and she's traveling. She's living her best life. So I'm saying that to say, through her story, I kind of get a, slight glimpse into how they are. And I could see connections between her behavior and Kanye's behavior. Because remember how Kanye would start these projects and want to start these projects, even though that's also a Gemini thing too. That's also a Gemini behavior as well. So if you're like that, don't think that you're bipolar, because also Gemini and some other people signs. So don't automatically assume. Please, I'm asking you, something is wrong with you. Please don't automatically assume that. Thanks in advance, okay? So as I was saying, that young lady made me realize that I was being a bit harsh on Kanye West, because the truth of the matter is, even though what he's saying is unpleasant, it's not good to see. We don't want to see that from him. We want to see the best version of him. I had to be honest, because I came to the realization that mental health is extremely selfish. It's like it has them trapped in this closet, and they cannot see outside of that closet. You could be telling them, what about the love for your kids? What about our history? What about the moments that they cannot see outside of that box? They can't. They cannot. And this is why some of them end up, self-delete, because they cannot see outside of themselves. So the moment I noticed how selfish mental health was, I said I shouldn't have been so harsh. So guys, as I was saying, right? I was saying that I realized that I was maybe a bit harsh, because, the moment you start to realize that, listen, mental health is extremely selfish. And then I noticed that it was a big thing. It was like a season of mental health disorder, because you were seeing celebrities going through their struggles, local people going through their struggles and stuff. And I said, you know what? Some of those things it wasn't necessary. It wasn't important for me to do some of those videos, because there were other people doing videos talking about him, and none of that was going to help him or even save him, right? Even though it appeared as though the numerous people that appealed to him to get some help, I said that, I could see that some of my videos, maybe were a bit too harsh. Not that I agree with him, or his behavior, but I started understanding what mental health, especially in his case, does to people. So I started pulling back, started doing less video on him. And if you guys observe, each time I do a video, I would say, I do hope that he gets some help. Because I know that each time they live like that, instead of them getting better, they actually get worse. And sometimes it gets to a point where there's literally no return. And when they get so far, because when I tell you guys that I went on a mission to learn, because I was seeing so many people online, people in Jamaica, going through mental health disorder. So I took it my personal mission to learn more. And I said, I do hope that it gets some help, because I was even seeing more videos. You know how you would be on TikTok, and when you start watching one set of videos that would consistently come up in your feed, sometimes they're just random, but sometimes they're based on what you have been watching. So I would see more people telling their story about their mental health disorder. I remember one young lady who told a story, and her life story was so close to Kanye West that I said, this is Kanye's twin. Like, I literally said, this is Kanye's twin in her comment section. And that comment, maybe it had like 1 million or more likes, because she said that she was married, she was married, and her husband, like, whenever she's falling off the rails, she has a friend who would see it. Her friend saw it. Her friend was telling her to take her medication. Her therapist was telling her to take her medication. And one day she was somewhere of the sort, and she was completely out of it. I believe it was either the friend or the therapist took her home, put the medication beside her with a bottle of water, and tell her that even if she falls asleep, once she wakes up, she should take it, because if she ends up, like, they have a state that I believe they call the psychosis state. When they get to that state, that's like when you see Kanye crashing out on the internet, it takes up to 2 years for them to have some sense of normalcy. So through that girl, I understood what was going on with Kanye, because she said she didn't take the medication. She went out partying, drinking, and they were in a car. Something went crazy with the car, like almost car accident or something. Yeah, she ended up in the hospital. Her husband had to come get her. But when her mental health got so bad to the state of the psychosis now, that the husband, and this is how I know, and from that girl I've learned, that when they get to a particular point, no matter what you do, you cannot help them. You have to leave them, like literally leave them for them to help themselves. So she spoke about after she, coming out of the hospital, and then her now flying to LA at a rehabilitation center. So when she spoke about flying to LA at a rehabilitation center, and she said that she was completely out of it, and she said that, like, she had to take the flight on her own, and she was even saying when she was at the airport she couldn't function. It was someone at the airport that helped her. And I was curious as to why didn't the husband take her to the rehab, took the flight with her and stuff. And she's saying, really, the truth is, when we're like that, the only person that can help us is just us. Like, they need to take that step. So she needed to take that step to check herself in, like find herself, because her husband has done everything and she wasn't listening to him. So she was on her own at that point, so her recovery was up to her. And she said it took, if you're tech Jamaican, it took her 2 years to get back to some sense of normalcy. So from that girl, from her lens, I had an idea what was going on with Ye, because remember we saw him with the alcohol bottle in Paris. We saw all of that, and like her life was such a mirror reflection of his. Like, that was, the learning curve. And I was like, Jesus, they go through so much, and when they're going through it, like, they're literally so selfish. They don't listen to anyone, and the more you tell them to do is the more they don't do. But when everyone starts pulling away from them and stop talking, stop telling them what to do, that's when they realize that, okay, they need to do something to help themselves. So that young lady's life, experience, it has really given me some insight into what Kanye was going through. And I said that means that if Bianca and his daughter has been trying to help him and he has turned against them, it means that they are about to pull away from him. And if they pull away from him, that's when he's going to realize that, okay, everyone is pulling away, something is really wrong, I need to get some help. So when I saw him with the rabbis, I was like, that's impressive, but is it genuine? Like, you guys, is it genuine? Because the thing is that the rabbis can be genuine with you because they're not all the same. There seems to be some genuinity there, right? Seems to be some genuinity there. So it's a two-way thing for me at this point. There seems to be genuine, seems to be some genuinity there, but will Kanye West be able to keep up his end of the bargain? Because he has been off mid so long. I'm wondering, they're saying he's going through some sort of treatment at this point. I'm gonna look for that video. I'm gonna read some more on that to see what he has been doing, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about that as well, because it seems as though he's about to make a 360 and have some kind of comeback. But I hope this time around the comeback that he has is kind of Jesus walks. Based on Bianca's outfit, we're not seeing Jesus walks, right? But I don't think we're far from it either. But let's see what happens. But anywho, guys, that's it for this video. Let me know what's your take. Leave your comment below. Peace.